Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vitam Sya Om Ajnana Timaranda Shagyanajana Shilakaya Chakshurum Milidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Gurganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Premna Vebijapradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandabaranam Balarka Chelan Shitam Sandrananda Puram Sarikabaranam Vairagya Vidyambudim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Vandetam Shivanam Manika Sharanam Yashishvara Sridharam Manchakopatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevaja Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamananyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami with translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila chapter 3, the glories of Haridas Thakur. And I'll begin with verse number 165. Haridas Thakur Chali Aila Chandapure Asiya Rohila Balarama Charjara Gare. Haridas Thakur walked until he came to the village known as Chandapur. There he stayed at the house of Balaramacharya. Hiranya Govardhan Dui Mulakera Majumadar Tarapurohita Balarama Namatar. Hiranya and Govardhan were two governmental treasurers in that division of the country. Their priest was named Balaramacharya. Haridasa Krishna Patra Tate Bhakti Mane Jatna Kore Thakurere Rakila Segrame. Balaramacharya, being favored by Haridas Thakur, was very much attached to him. Therefore he kept Haridas in the village with great care and attention. Nirjan Parna Shalai Korana Kirtan Balaramacharya Grihe Bika Nirbahan. In the village, Haridas Thakur was given a solitary thatched cottage where he performed the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He accepted prasadam at the house of Balaramacharya. Raghunath Das Bala Korana Adyayan Haridas Thakurere Jai Korana Darshan. Raghunath Das, who was the son of Govardhan Majumadar and was later to become Raghunath Das Goswami, was at that time a boy engaged in study. He came to see Haridas Thakur daily. Haridas Kripa Kore Tahara Upare Se Kripa Karana Hoila Chaitanya Paibare. Naturally, Haridas Thakur was merciful toward him, and because of the merciful benediction of this Vaishnava, he later attained the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Tahanjai che hoila Haridas mahima katan Vyakyana adbhuta kata shuna bhaktagan. At the residence of Hiranya and Govardhan, discourses took place by which Haridas Thakur was glorified. O devotees, please listen to that wonderful story. Ek din Balaram minati Korea Majumadarer Sabai Aila Takore Loya. One day Balaramacharya requested Haridas Thakur with great humility to come to the assembly of the Majhumadars, Hiranya and Govardhan. Thus Balaramacharya went there with Haridas Thakur. Thakur deki dui bai koila abhutan payapari asana dila korea saman. Sing Haridas Thakur. The two brothers immediately stood up and fell at his lotus feet. Then with great respect they offered him a place to sit. Anika Pandita Sabai Brahmana Sajan Duibai Mahapandit Hiranya Govardhan. And in that assembly were many learned scholars, Brahmins and respectable gentlemen. The two brothers Hiranya and Govardhan were also greatly learned. Haridaser Guna Sabe Kohe Panchamuke Shunyata Duibai Paila Borasuke. Everyone there began to speak of Haridas Thakur's great qualities as if they had 5 mouths. Hearing this, both brothers were extremely happy. Tinlatnam Thakur Korana Kirtan Namera Mahima Utaila Panditagan. It was mentioned in the assembly that Haridas Thakur chanted the holy names of Krishna 300,000 times a day. Thus all the learned scholars began to discuss the glories of the holy name. Keho bole nama hoite hoi papakoi, keho bole nama hoite jivera moka hoi. Some of them said, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is freed from the reactions of all sinful life. Others said, simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, a living being is liberated from material bondage. So when they're discussing what are the glories of the holy name, and some persons are saying that it just relieves one from the reactions of all past sinful life. And then others were saying that it gives one liberation from material bondage. So in other words, destroys one's sinful reactions, or that it gives one liberation. Haridas Kohen Namera E Dui Fala Noi Namera Fale Krishna Pare Prema Upajoy. Haridas Thakur protested, these two benedictions are not the true result of chanting the holy name. Actually, by chanting the holy name without offenses, one awakens one's ecstatic love for the lotus feet of Krishna. Evam vrata svapriyanama kirtya jatanu rago druta chitta uchai hasati ato rodati roti gayati unmarava nrityati lokavayaha. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated, and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Anusangika phalanamer mukte papanash tahan drishtanta jaiche suryara prakash. Liberation and extinction of the reactions of sinful life are two concomitant byproducts of chanting the holy name of the Lord. An example is found in the gleams of morning sunlight. Ama samharad akilam sakrid udayaneva sakala lokasya taranir eva timir jaladim jayati jagan mangalam harirnama. As the rising sun immediately dissipates all the world's darkness, which is deep like an ocean, so the holy name of the Lord, if chanted once without offenses, dissipates all the reactions of a living being's sinful life. All glories to that holy name of the Lord, which is auspicious for the entire world. As the rising sun immediately dissipates all the world's darkness, which is deep like an ocean, so the holy name of the Lord, if chanted once without offenses, dissipates all the reactions of a living being's sinful life. All glories to that holy name of the Lord, which is auspicious for the entire world. Eshlokera arta kora panditeragan sabe kohe tumikaha arta vivaran. After reciting this verse, Haridas Thakur said, O learned scholars, please explain the meaning of this verse. But the audience requested Haridas Thakur, it is better for you to explain the meaning of this important verse. Haridas Kohen Chachi Suryera Uday Udayana Hoite Arambe Tamera Hoi Koi. Haridas Thakur said, as the sun begins to rise, even before it is visible, it dissipates the darkness of night. Chora preta rakash sadir by hoi nash udaya hoile dharma karma adi parakash. With the first glimpse of sunlight, fear of thieves, ghosts, and demons immediately disappears. And when the sun is actually visible, everything is manifest and everyone begins performing his religious activities and regulative duties. Aiche namo daya rambe papa adirakoi udaya koile Krishna pade hoy premodoi. Similarly, the first hint that offenseless chanting of the Lord's holy name has awakened dissipates the reactions of sinful life immediately. And when one chants the holy name offenselessly, one awakens to service and ecstatic love at the lotus feet of Krishna. Mukti tucha falahoy namabhas hoite. Liberation is the insignificant result derived from a glimpse of the awakening of offenseless chanting of the holy name. In other words, liberation comes from namabhas, which isn't pure chanting, but is sometimes characterized as inattentive chanting or imperfect chanting. But even namabhas can give liberation from the results of one's sinful life, or also can give one liberation from onto the platform of liberation. But that namabhas is not the result. These are not the results of chanting the name of the Lord in love of Godhead. This is just the insignificant. Liberation is the insignificant result derived from a glimpse of the awakening of offenseless chanting of the holy name, or the awakening, which may be said to be namabhas, inattentive chanting. Mriyamano harer nama grinan putro pacharitam achamilo pi agadama kim uta shradaya grinan. While dying, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord, intending to call his son Narayan. Nevertheless, he attained the spiritual world. What then to speak of those who chant the holy name with faith and reverence? Ajamil got all these results, you can say, by namabhas. While dying, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord, intending to call his son Narayan. He's not chanting purely, but he's in a fearful condition with the Yamadutas coming for him, and he calls his son Narayan. But when he called his son Narayan, he called the holy name of the Lord. But that's namabhas. He's not chanting in pure love of Godhead, but this is, you might say, a stage between namaparad, chanting with offense, and chanting with Krishna Prem, chanting in pure love of Godhead. So this is intermediate stage, we could say, which is namabhas. While dying, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord, intending to call his son Narayan. Nevertheless, he attained the spiritual world. What then to speak of those who chant the holy name with faith and reverence? Jai mukti bhakta na loy, say Krishna chahe dite. Liberation, which is unacceptable for a pure devotee, is always offered by Krishna without difficulty. Salokya Sharshti Sarupya Samikyai Katvama Piyuta Jamanam na grinanti vinamat sevanam janaha. My devotees do not accept Salokya, Sharshti, Sarupya, Samipya, or oneness with me, even if I offer these liberations in preference to serving me. So, Salokya, to live on spiritual planet. Salokya. Sharshti, to acquire the same opulences, spiritual opulences. Sharshti. Salokya, to live on the planet of the Lord. Sharshti, to acquire opulence on the spiritual planet. Sarupya, to achieve the same bodily features as the Lord, like four-handed features. Samipya, to live always near the Lord. Or oneness, which is ekatvam, oneness or merging with the Lord. My devotees do not accept Salokya, Sharshti, Sarupya, Samipya, or oneness with me, even if I offer these liberations in preference to serving me. Gopal Chakravarti Nam Ek Jan Majumadarer Gare Se Arinda Pradhan. At the house of Hiranyan Govardhan Majhumadar, a person named Gopal Chakravarti was officially the chief tax collector. Gode Rohi Patsaha Age Arinda Giri Kore Baralaka Mudra Se Patsara Tai Bare. This Gopal Chakravarti lived in Bengal. His duty as chief tax collector was to collect 1,200,000 gold coins to deposit in the treasury of the emperor. Parama Sundarya Pandit Nutana Jovana Namabhas Mukte Shune Nahoila Sahan. He had handsome bodily features, and he was learned and youthful, but he could not tolerate the statement that simply by glimpsing the awakening of the Lord's holy name, one can attain liberation. So this Gopal Chakravarti, he couldn't tolerate that the jnanis, they try so hard for liberation, but they can't attain liberation except after thousands of births. But here, Gopal Chakravarti is hearing Haridas Thakur saying that by namabhas, or attentive chanting of the holy names, one can attain liberation. He was enraged. He was thinking, what kind of nonsense, sentimentality is this that someone can say, even without chanting attentively or imperfectly, that one can attain liberation. Kruda hoya bale se sarosha bachan babukera siddhanta shuna panditaragan. This young man, Gopal Chakravarti, became very angry upon hearing the statements of Haridas Thakur. He immediately criticized him. O assembly of learned scholars, he said, just hear the conclusion of this emotional devotee, of this sentimental emotional devotee. Koti janme brahma jnane se mukti noy, eko he namabhas se mukti hoy. After many millions upon millions of births, when one is complete in absolute knowledge, one still may not attain liberation. Yet this man says that one may attain it simply by the awakening of a glimpse of the holy name. By chanting with namabhas, by chanting inattentively, one can attain liberation, which which eludes Gyanis after thousands and thousands of births. What kind of statement is this? This Gopal Chakravarti is saying. Haridas Kohan Kene Goraha Samsha Shastre Kohe Namabhasa Matre Mukti Hoy. Haridas Thakur said, why are you doubtful? The revealed scriptures say that one can attain liberation simply by a glimpse of offenseless chanting of the holy name. But just by namabhas, one can attain liberation. Bhakti sukha ge mukti ati tucha hoy ateva bhaktagana muktin nahi loy. For a devotee who enjoys the transcendental bliss of devotional service, liberation is most insignificant. Therefore, pure devotees never desire to achieve liberation. Tvat sakshad karanalada vishuddhabdi stitashyame sukhane gosh padayant sukhane gosh padayante brahmani api jagad guru. My dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in that ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness, including even Brahmananda, to be like the water contained in the hoofprint of a calf. Viprakohin, so Brahmananda, this even so-called liberation compared to the ocean of devotional service, of serving the Lord. My dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in that ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness, including even Brahmananda, to be like the water contained in the hoofprint of an ocean. The water contained in the hoof, I now realize all other so-called happiness, including even Brahmananda, to be like the water contained in the hoofprint of a calf. So, the water contained in a hoofprint of a calf is most insignificant compared to the ocean. So, so-called liberation is insignificant compared to the ocean of happiness derived by being in the service and in the association of the Lord and His devotees. Viprakohe namabhase jari mukti noy tabe tomara nak kati karahanis joy. Gopal Chakravarti said, if one is not liberated by namabhas, then you may be certain that I shall cut off your nose. Haridas kohen jari namabhase mukti noy tabe amara nak Katimu a shunis joy. Then Haridas Thakur accepted the challenge offered by Gopal Chakravarti. If by namabhas liberation is not available, he said, certainly I shall cut off my nose. If one cannot attain liberation by namabhas, you don't have to threaten me. I can cut off my own nose. That's how much confidence Haridas Thakur had. Shuni sukha sad ute kore hahakar majhumadar se vipre korela dikar. All the members of the assembly who had heard the challenge were greatly agitated, and they got up, making a tumultuous sound. Hiranya and Govardhan Majhumadar both immediately chastised the Brahmin tax collector. So they were very annoyed.
Es que dicen que no se está oyendo la clase allá.
Okay. Oh, porque no prendí el micrófono. Hello? Hello? It's on now. Hello? Bueno, tú no serviste como un mensajero en el sentido que ellos te dijeron que no escucharon nada, es porque no había prendido el micrófono. Si me hubieras dicho eso, yo prendo el micrófono, pero no me dijiste nada.
Ah, sí.
Ay.
Sí, mera verdad.
Es la verdad.
Sí, pero eso no es por lo que están hablando, es porque quieren hablar.
No es eso. Yo no tenía prendido el micrófono.
Ah, bueno. Ahora ya no tienen que hablar.
Bueno, me tienes que dar mensajes. Si ellos dicen no escuchamos nada, me tienes que decir. Ok.
Bueno.
Malay Purohita Tare Korila Marsan Gata Pati Amurka Tui Bhakti Kahajan Balai Purohita Tare Korila Marsan Gata Pati Amurka Tui Bhakti Kahajan. The priest named Balaramacharya also chastised Gopal Chakravarti. You are a foolish logician, he said. What do you know about the devotional service of the Lord? Haridas Thakur tui koiliapaman sarvanash habe Torah nahabe kayan. You have insulted Haridas Thakur, thus there will be a dangerous position for you. You should not expect anything auspicious. Shuni Haridas Tabe Antya-lila Machumadar Se Vipre Tyaga Korila. Then Haridas Thakur got up to leave, and the Majhamadars, the masters of the Gopal Chakravarti, immediately kicked him out and dismissed him from their service. Shaba Sahite Haridas Parila Charane Haridas Hase Kahe Madhura Bachane. With all the members of the assembly, the two Majhamadars fell at the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was smiling, however, and he spoke in a sweet voice. Toma sabar dosha nahi e agya brahman, tara dosha nahi tara tarka nishtaman. None of you are at fault, he said. Indeed, even this ignorant so-called Brahman is not at fault, for he is accustomed to dry speculation and logic. Tarkera gocharanahi namera mahatva katash hoite janive se e sab tatva. One cannot understand the glories of the holy name simply by logic and argument. Therefore, this man cannot possibly understand the glories of the holy name. Jagara Krishna Karuna Kushala Sabar Amara Sambande Duka Nahok Kahar. All of you may now go to your homes. May Lord Krishna bestow his blessings upon you all. Do not be sorry because of my being insulted. Tabe se Hiranyadas Nijagari Aila se Brahmane Nijadvara Mana Koila. Then Hiranyadas Majhamadar returned to his home in order that Gopal Chakravarti not be admitted therein. Tin din bitare se viprera kushta hoila ati ucha nashatara galia padila. Within 3 days, that Brahman was attacked by leprosy, and as a result, his highly raised nose melted away and fell off. Champakali samahasta Paranguli Champakali Sa Samahasta Paranguli Konkada Hoila Sab Kushte Gela Gali. The Brahmin's toes and fingers were beautiful like golden-colored champak buds, but because of leprosy they all withered and gradually melted away. Dekhiya Sakala Lok Hoila Chamatkar Haridase Prashamsitare Kore Namaskar. Seeing the condition of Gopal Chakravarti, everyone was astonished. Everyone praised the influence of Haridas Thakur and offered him obeisances. Jajapi Haridas Viprara Dosha Na Loila Tatapi Ishwaratare Vala Bunjaila. Although Haridas Thakur as a Vaishnava did not take seriously the Brahman's offense, the Supreme Personality of Godhead could not tolerate it, and thus he made the Brahman suffer the consequences. Bhaktas Swabhava Agya Dosha Kama Kore Krishna Swabhava Bhakta Ninda Sahitena Pare. A characteristic of a pure devotee is that he excuses any offense by an ignorant rascal. The characteristic of Krishna, however, is that he cannot tolerate blasphemy of his devotees. Viprera Kushta Shuni Haridas Maniduka Hoila Balai Purohite Kohe Shantipura Aila. Haridas Thakur was unhappy when he heard that the Brahmin Gopal Chakravarti had been attacked by leprosy. Thus, after informing Balaramacharya, the priest of Hiranyamajhamadar, he went to Shantipur, the home of Advaitacharya. Acharya Miliya Koila Dandavat Pranam Advaita Alingana Kori Korila Saman. Upon meeting Advaitacharya, Haridas Thakur offered him respect and obeisances. Advaitacharya embraced him and showed respect to him in return. So I'll stop at this place. Tomorrow we'll continue with the glories of Haridas Thakur. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Maranaman Giridhari Gopinatha Maranaman Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Janadana Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vina Janadana Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vina Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhatta Ranguna Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhatta Ranguna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Ranguna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Ranguna Jai Gosai Kori Janana Bandhan Jai Gosai Kori Janana Bandhan Jai Te Vignanasha Vishna Puran Jai Te Vignanasha Vishna Puran Jai Gosai Jar Muita Puradas Jai Gosai Jar Muitaradas Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras Kader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Kader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame janame more abilas. Janame janame more abilas. Echai gosai jabe braje boy. Echai gosai jabe braje koilabas. Echai gosai jabe braje koilabas. Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash. Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamadas. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamadas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Varyashtatara Sata Shri Shrimad Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshira Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Shri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Saparikara Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giriraj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.